to be looking today at how we can remember Krishna always. Because Srila Rupa Goswami says we should always do what? Always remember Krishna and not forget him. So that's not so easy, is it? Sachi Suchapu, a cup would be nicer than a bottle. Easier. So we try, to meditate, remember the form of the deity, remember the holy name, remember Krishna's pastimes. But mostly our life is filled up with so many things. And we tend to think about whatever we are seeing or hearing or smelling or touching or tasting, and we forget about Krishna. Is this a problem? Yes? Yes. So it's very interesting in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna tells Arjuna how to practice yoga. At the end he says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shradavam bhajate myomam samayuktatamo mataha. The best yogi is someone who's always thinking of me. And then right after that, Krishna is going to tell Arjuna how to think of him. And you might imagine that right after Krishna says to Arjuna, the best yogi is always thinking of me, that he would talk about thinking about Krishna in Vrindavan, playing his flute. But that's not what he does. What he does is he says, I'm the taste of water. I'm the light of the sun and the moon. How to think of Krishna that way. And there's a lecture in Japan where one man asked Srila Prabhupada, how can I see God? And Prabhupada said, you should see God the way God is advising. He is advising that you find him in the taste of water and the light of the sun. Now, what happens when we see Krishna in all of these things is that naturally brings us into thinking of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. You follow? Srila Prabhupada talks a lot about meditating on the Lord in this way. And he said, there's one lecture where he says 3 times in the lecture, we have in our book, the table someplace, in our book, we have quotes from Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas about these things. And there's one lecture where Srila Prabhupada says 3 times that if we practice thinking this way, there will be no material world. And he says it 3 times. He said there'll be no material world, there'll be no material world, there'll be no material world. In the 20th chapter of Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada writes that Maya is only within the mind. So we're going to go on a journey today of how we can find Krishna in the things of this world. Now, in the book, we have 4 sections. One is how to find the Lord in earth, water, fire, air, and space. One is these verses from the Bhagavad Gita that I'll be going over today. One is verses from the Bhagavatam, 2nd canto and 8th canto, about how we can see the universe as the Lord's body. As Queen Kunti says, you are the personality of the form of the universe. And then the last section is how we can see Krishna through nectar devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in the world in terms of Krishna's qualities. But I'm just going to be doing the Bhagavad Gita one. Now, as I'm teaching this now, I'd like, if possible, if you could take some notes on paper, maybe on your phone, of which 1, 2, or 3 of these you're going to be meditating on in the next week. I want you to choose something specific that you can actually meditate on, and then at the end of the class, I'm going to be asking which you've chosen, okay? Yes? All right. And as I said, also at the end of the class, I have a special treat for everybody. All right, you ready? All right. We're going to start with chapter 7. So Krishna says he is Om. Actually, he says this 3 times, that he is Om. So we know that the creation of the world started with sound. Actually, we'll be talking more about that on Friday when we talk about the holy name, how the creation comes about by sound. And that sound was Om. And actually, even solid matter, the scientists say it's moving. You know, the atoms are moving, the molecules are moving. And whenever there's movement, there is sound. Now, Krishna not only says he is Om, he says he is all sounds. And there's one lecture when Prabhupada talks about this verse, and he says, if you don't want to chant Hare Krishna, you can find Krishna in all sounds. We have the fans, the car. I like meditating on this one because it's a little bit intellectually challenging. How is the car horn Krishna? How is the fans Krishna? Prabhupada, in talking about this, says that, oh, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. You can just put it here. That's fine. Thank you. It's much easier to drink out of a cup when you're talking than to drink out of a bottle. Thank you. Prabhupada says that all sounds are originally spiritual, but that because we're perceiving them materially, we find them to be material. And he says he's the seed. This is also something that he says 3 times. So bhakti is compared to a seed, right? That the guru plants the seed of bhakti in the heart and we water it with hearing and chanting. And gradually it comes to flower and fruit at the lotus feet of the Lord. And he is righteous romance. Whenever you see married couple, husband and wife are loving each other, they are affectionate with their children, that is Krishna. The strength of the strong, without passion and desire, strength used to protect others. Whenever we are using our strength for the good of others, whenever we see anyone else using their strength to protect others, that is Krishna. So how is that motorcycle sound Krishna? That is very interesting. The heat in fire. Can we all become aware of the heat in this room? One time I read this scientist said that the universe is a cold, impersonal machine. That is not true. Krishna is full of warmth. We associate warmth with life and also with love, right? We talk about a warm embrace. When we become aware of the heat around us and coming from our bodies, we can feel that Krishna is alive and loving. The original fragrance of the earth. Prabhupada says that even if you don't study the Shastra and you don't have a guru, you can find God in the fragrance of a flower. These different flowers, carnations, marigolds, lotus, they're all growing from the same earth. Same sunshine, same water, but such a variety of fragrance. Yes? It gives us some idea of what is Krishna. Penances of ascetics. So what is penance? Penance means that you've done something wrong and you put things back into balance. Yes? The most simple kind of penance is an apology. So is that easy or hard to make a genuine apology? Very easy to make a genuine apology. This is a real Vaishnava. For most people, it's very difficult. I know one devotee that he posted on social media, my seniors have asked me to make a genuine apology. So if any of you are so sensitive that you were offended by what I wrote, I'm very sorry for that. Actually, Krishna tells Lord Brahma right before the Chaturshloki of the Bhagavatam, which is the essence of the Bhagavatam, he says, Tapo me hridayam sakshat. Tapasya is directly my heart. Atmaham tapaso. I myself am penance. Those who are dedicated to putting things back into balance. The life of all that lives. If we could become aware that we are alive, if you can feel your aliveness. I'm alive. And everyone else in this room also has this sense that I am alive. The world is full of a sense of aliveness, and that is Krishna. The intelligence. So all of us have some intelligence, yes? You know what it feels like when we do something intelligent and we go, whoa, that was smart. That's Krishna. Prowess or tejaha, this is skilled strength. When we have strength developed by skill, that is Krishna. The light of the sun, this is also something Krishna says 3 times. Can we become aware of the light of the sun in this room? This photograph was taken in Hawaii, not even as close to the equator. So by the sun, everything becomes clear. We gain knowledge. We gain safety. We gain security. The light of the moon, how Krishna is so soothing and cooling. Our ability, this is something we can meditate on anytime. So all of us here, we have some ability to sit. We have some ability to see, to hear. Try wiggling your toes. How are you doing that? Are you wiggling your toes? That ability is Krishna. And anytime you see any ability in anyone or in yourself. And taste of water. So we all have to drink water. And you know, especially if you've been out in the middle of the day when it's very hot, right? And if you've been working hard, and then you just go, oh, water. Oh, water. That is Krishna. Actually, Prabhupada says this, Rasoham Sukantaya means any liquid. You know, orange juice, mango juice. Any liquid, that taste, that is Krishna. So we did chapter 7, now we're going to look at chapter 9. So he says he is the ritual, the kratu. So we have so many rituals in our Hare Krishna movement, but even in daily life we have rituals. Like I was just visiting our youngest son. So there he puts the bowls here in the kitchen and the plates over here. And when I'm at our oldest son's house, then he puts the bowls over here and the plates over here. They have a different ritual according to how they like it. So the rituals that we have, they are Krishna's desire. And Krishna's desire and Krishna are the same. Yajna. Yajna means a ceremony to connect with the Lord. Just like if I want to connect with my daughter, I have to do a ceremony. I have to have a phone. It has to be connected to a network. It has to have a charge. I have to put in the right number, and it has to be the right time. If I call her at 1 in the morning, I will not make a connection. Yes? So the yajnas are like that, how to connect with Krishna. And again, the way we connect with Krishna is indicative of his desire, and therefore it is himself. Offering to the ancestors. Krishna is pleased when we respect the elders in the family and keep up pious traditions. And the healing herb. So we all know what it's like when we're feeling sick and we take some medicine. Actually, all the drugs in the Bhagavatam section of our book, we're quoting how all of the drugs and the herbs are actually the hairs on the body of the Lord, and their potency comes from his breath. So that potency to heal us, to restore us, that's Krishna. So if Krishna is all sounds, certainly he is especially the sound of his name. Not only the ritual and the yajna, but all the ingredients of our ceremonies and sacrifices. And of course, every religion says that God is the Father. So all of us have fathers. I hope we have a good relationship with our fathers. Many of you are fathers. Every day we see so many fathers. And if you take the ideal father, loving, caring, guiding, educating, providing for the children, and you could magnify that by billions of times, that is Krishna. And I am the mother. So the mother nourishes the child within her body, and from her body once the child is born. So Lord Brahma says to Krishna in the 14th chapter of the 10th canto, how Mother Yasoda saw us all within his belly. Actually, we are all within the belly of God. And we are all being nourished by him. And just like a mother will love her child even if the child becomes evil. Isn't it? Even the child's a criminal, they're in prison, the mother still has affection. So Krishna, like a perfect mother, has affection for us even when we make mistakes and even when we do what is wrong. The support. So what supports us? We talk about our job. How do you support yourself as your job? Or we can think about the supports of our home, or emotional support from our family, from our friends. Can all of that crumble? Can it crumble? Yeah, but Krishna never crumbles. And he's the grandfather. We are in his dynasty. Just like we do a yagya, and it said, Achyuta Gotra, we are in Krishna's dynasty. The object of knowledge, so the scientist Louis Pasteur, he said if you study a little bit of science, you might become an atheist, but if you study a lot of science, you will become a theist. Anything we study, ultimately, the object is Krishna. The purifier, we do so many things to become purified. We take bath, we wash our clothes, we clean our house, we try to eat healthy food. Maybe we are taking some medicines, maybe we go to some therapy. But the purifying agent or action, the active principle of purification in all of those is Krishna. Oh, again he says Om. So I think this is very simple. One syllable, Om. How can this be God? So Lord Brahma also made this mistake looking at little Krishna. Krishna's eating with his friends, and Lord Brahma thinks, oh, he's just a little boy. How can he be God? Yeah. I am the goal. Prabhupada says if we are not satisfied, that is for want of an ultimate goal, if we are feeling mentally dissatisfied. So setting our goals, achieving our goals, working towards our goals, that is Krishna. The sustainer, so what sustains us? Air, temperature, water, food, our society. But ultimately, it is really Krishna working through all of those things that sustains us. The master. So this is not very popular in 2024. People don't like having masters. How many of you have ever had a really good boss? How many have had a really, really good boss? Like one person only. No, come on. How many of you have ever had a good boss? There's got to be at least 3 or 4. All right, you got about 6. Okay, that's good. Never get very many, but it's always at least 3 or 4. You know, when you have that sense that someone's taking care of things. And that's like the little child, 2-year-old, 3-year-old child sitting in the car, and they don't know, you know, where are we going, what are we doing, but they're just there peacefully because they know my parent is driving. You understand? They feel safe and secure. The witness. So a lot of people don't like this. Oh, God is seeing everything I do. But it's not like that. So you can you can make an experiment, and you can go today, this evening, go to someone who loves you and say, I'd like to talk to you for 2 hours about everything I did today. Hare Krishna. But Krishna cares, right? Krishna's interested in everything we think, everything we feel, everything we do, not only now, but forever. The abode. So how do you feel when you go home, right? Our home is someplace we can relax, we can be ourselves, we can be our authentic self. So Krishna is everywhere, and we can relax and be authentic with him everywhere. This is a nice thing to meditate on when you go to your home. Open the door to wherever you live, and you just remember, Krishna is the abode. He is the shelter. So in many places, one is 321:17 Bhagavatam purport, Srila Prabhupada compares Krishna to an umbrella against the onslaught of Maya. And the most dear friend, so I hope all of us have some good friend, somebody that we have a sense of equality and shared interests, and we have each other's back. So if we take that sense of friendship and multiply it by billions and billions of times, What a friend is Krishna. Creation and destruction. We are fascinated by both. Like little children, they build towers and then they knock it over. Right? There's one lady on YouTube, she makes her money by making things out of blocks, and then like you hit one and it goes down in some design, you know, and people watch that, and so she gets advertisements. Because we're very fascinated by creation and destruction and the basis of everything. A secular view means that we explain our life and society without reference to God. But actually, through our joys, our sorrows, our defeats, our victories, Krishna is always the basis of everything. I like this one very much. I really like finding these pictures. This is something I think about whenever I lie down at night to go to sleep. Or just even you've been walking and you're tired and you sit down. Ah, Krishna is the resting place. And again, he says he's the seed. So we eat so many seeds, isn't it? The main food for almost the whole world is seeds. Wheat, rice, right? Barley, oats. And our beans are all seeds. Many of our spices are seeds. The concentrated energy of the plant, and that is Krishna. And I give heat. So when we are cooking, the heat makes the molecules in the food dense. And it releases the flavor and the liquid of the food. Similarly, when we see Krishna, we also dance, and our flavor is released from our heart. Withhold and send forth the rain. So when I was a little girl, we were once driving, and it was raining on our side of the street and not on the other side, like right on the line, you know. So sometimes Krishna sends in one place rain, and another time he withholds. Immortality and death. So we are all afraid of death, because death means that everything we have invested in our life is finished. Our good name, our family, our education, our talents, our money, our possessions, our accomplishments. We are putting all of our energy into this. And at death, finished. So we're very afraid of death, but actually death is Krishna. Prabhupada talks about the cat carrying the rat in its mouth or carrying the kitten. And if we feel that Krishna is our mother and our father, when he comes to take us, we feel simply secure. And not only is Krishna death, he is immortality. Death is not the end. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. After death, we live forever. And that is also Krishna. So we looked at chapters 7 and 9. Now we're going to look at chapter 10. Beginning, middle, and end, our childhood, our middle age, our old age. And again, he says he's the light of the sun. Actually, everything is a transformation of sunlight. Isn't that interesting? Right? The plants are eating sunlight and turning it into food, then we are eating the plants. Our body's really a transformation of sunlight. And the wood, the metal, all of this is just transformed sunlight. Among stars, I am the moon. When we see the moon surrounded by stars, we can meditate on how Krishna eats surrounded by his cowherd boys, or how he dances in the middle of the gopis. And the mind, so to us yogis, we may think of the mind as troublesome. But actually, Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, we cannot think, feel, or desire anything that is outside the purview of the mind. And when we understand that and we decide to think, feel, and desire in relation to Krishna, we realize that Krishna is the mind. So our sense of awareness. Can we each become aware that we are aware? We are aware of where our shoulders are. We are aware of where our knees are. Even if we close our eyes, we are aware of how much space is behind us, to the sides of us, and in front of us. We are full of awareness. And similarly, every living being in this room is also full of awareness. Actually, the whole world is full of awareness, and that is Krishna. So he is Lord Shiva. I think some of you know Shamaka Rishi, my godbrother. I think he used to come to Guyana a long time ago. I think so. Yeah. So you know he worked it was a part-time job, but he was the physician in a maximum security prison for the criminally insane. Imagine having that as your job. And that's what Lord Shiva does in the universe. So I am the ocean. So you are all regularly seeing the ocean. Very deep, very broad. It looks like it's all the same, but it's teeming with varieties of life. Like Krishna is very deep, very broad, and he may look simple, but he's full of potencies and pastimes. And again, he says he is Om. Srila Prabhupada writes twice in Chaitanya Charitamrita how Srila Jiva Goswami analyzes this Om. Om, you know, is full of three letters, A, U, and Anusvar. The A, Krishna already says he is the A. Srila Jiva Goswami says the U is Srimati Radharani, and the Anushwar is all of us. And this way, Om is complete. He is every yagya, but especially the chanting of his names. Because for the other yagyas, you know, if you say the mantra wrong, instead of getting a demigod, you get a demon. Or, you know, you just have to get your pronunciation exactly correct, and it's got to be the right everything. But the holy name you can chant when you're tired, when you're alert, when you're lying down, when you're clean, when you're dirty, when you're at work, anywhere, silently, softly, loudly, and Krishna is there. And the Himalayas, so I don't think any of us see the Himalayas here. Do you have any mountains here in Guyana at all? Not really any mountains. Yeah. But you have banyan trees here? Do you have banyan trees here or no? Yes, you have banyan trees. So just like you have the Indian banyan or the Chinese? You have Indian banyan, okay. So just like with the banyan, you cannot see where it begins, where it ends, where's the original trunk. And the king. So people are still very interested in kings, yes? When King Charles was coronated, so many, I mean, I wasn't watching, but so many people were watching. And so how fascinating must be Krishna, the King of Kings. And lightning, the weapon of lightning. Just like even ourselves, if we're confused, we have doubts, we're sad, we have difficulty, and then Krishna comes like lightning and dissipates all of our troubles. The Surabhi cow who can fulfill all desires and give unlimited milk, like Krishna, Eko Bahunam Yo Viradati Kaman. So there's many reasons that people have children, but Krishna says of all of those reasons, he is the love between the husband and wife. And he is Yamaraj. Whenever we think things are unfair, that bad people are enjoying, good people are suffering, we know behind everything there is Yamaraj and everything is perfect. Time. Everything we have is going to be worn down by time. Yes. And that wearing down is Krishna. The lion, the king of the beasts, like Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. When he speaks the Gita, all of the atheists and demons, they flee. The wind, the smell of the clothes, when you hang them up outside in the breeze, or you have a musty room and you open up the windows, that purifying is Krishna. Parasaram, who rooted out corruption in government. Whenever we see people getting rid of government that's corrupt, we can remember Parasaram. The Makara, which Prabhupada translates as shark or dolphin or crocodile, the great beast of the sea. And the Ganga, Mother Ganga, the Ganges, that comes from the toe of Vamandev, Padanaka Janita Janapavana, spiritual water. The beginning, the middle, and the end. The top of the sandwich, the middle of the sandwich, the bottom of the sandwich. The start of your journey, your destination, you're going home. The planning the project, the having the project, the cleaning up afterwards. The science of the self. So what is the self? Srila Rupa Goswami says that we have 50 of the qualities of God. In a minute degree, but we're very minute, so that's fine. So we are beautiful, we are geniuses, we are effulgent. We are wonderful. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 6:20 that once we realize the self, we will relish and rejoice in the self, and we will think there is nothing greater to be gained. So this science of understanding the self is Krishna. And he is Vada. Vada means discussions, where you want to know truth. You leave your ego with your shoes outside, and you just want to know truth. There's also Jalpa discussions. Jalpa is you don't care about truth. You are just trying to win. You just want to be right. I was having some discussion for a few weeks with one devotee, and after some time I said, "What do you want?" She said, "I want you to say that I am right." So that is Jalpa. Then Vitanda, you are not looking for truth, and you are not trying to win. You are just simply trying to destroy. You're not trying to put forth something positive. You just want to say the other person is wrong. So Krishna is not trying to defeat or trying to show someone wrong, but to show truth. And he is the letter So this is if you try saying the sound you see, you're not using your lips, your tongue, or your teeth. This is the basic sound of all language. An inexhaustible time. Our good times come and go. Our bad times come and go. But Krishna is always there. And the death of everything, not just the death of this body, the death of our projects, our relationships, our homes, our jobs, everything comes to an end. Therefore, Bali Maharaj said to Sukracharya, why not give to Krishna now what's going to be taken at the time of death? If I am dedicating all these things to Krishna, then when as time he takes them, as death when he takes them, he already has them and it's not painful. This is interesting, the start before the start. You know, sometimes you meet someone, you start some friendship, some relationship, and you realize, oh, actually this started before. This started really a month before when I met someone else. Or you get a new job and, oh, this actually started 3 years before. But when it really started, I didn't know it was the start. Yes, you've all had this experience? And then you look back and you go, oh, that was the real start. So Krishna is the start before the start. The fame of dharmic women. The Shri, the fortune, the sparkly brilliance of women. The fine speech of women. Actually, Sudarshan is explained in Bhagavatam 9.5.7 as the master of speech. Sudarshan, that burns ignorance, that illuminates. When women speak like that, that is Krishna. Memory, the memory of women, which Prabhupada says is to be able to read many books and to actually assimilate them. And then women's intelligence, Meta. So you know the nice verse about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that has the word Meta? Anyone know this verse? Sumedhasaha, anyone who has good, beautiful intelligence, they will take part in Mahaprabhu's movement. And Prabhupada writes in Teachings of Queen Kunti that in religious observances, generally the women outnumber the men. Now here I see the men are outnumbering the women by slightly. But it's a sociological fact that generally more women are religious than men. Mm-hmm. So this intelligence of women to take shelter of God, that is Krishna. Steadfastness, women's chastity, their faithfulness, their determination. The patience of women. So how many of you ladies are mothers? How many of you have children? How many mothers do we have? So do you have to be patient with your children? Yes? I say you have 3 choices. You can be patient, you can go crazy, or you can have someone else watch them. That's all. Now, you guys don't listen to this. Do you have to be patient with your husbands also? Yes? That's Krishna. He says he is the Gayatri. Gayatri, those of us who chant the Gayatri mantras, this is God in the form of a poem. Now, this I don't think has any meaning here. You don't have seasons, do you? You have no seasons, right? Do you have a little bit seasons? Just dry and wet. You harvest all year. But November, December, this is a harvest time. At least in the northern hemisphere, this is a harvest time. We have our Gaudiya Vaishnava harvest festival, which is Govardhan Puja, the joy of the harvest. And again, this you have all the time. You're always having so many flowers. But for people who live with 4 seasons or 6 seasons, so spring is like the season of youthfulness. Gambling. So gambling is an interesting kind of cheating because in most cheating, you don't know you're cheated until later. Like you think it's a nice person and then there's nothing in your bank account, right? What happened? But with gambling, everyone knows, okay, you put down the cards, I will try to cheat you, you will try to cheat me. The splendor, the wow of anything. Srila Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that this wow, this adbhuta ras, has to be there anytime there is any pleasure from anything. There has to be a little wow. And that wow is Krishna. Victory is Krishna. Krishna is adventure. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that if we live our life as if we're part of Krishna adventure, then we will not see our difficulties as painful. Not only the strength of the strong used to protect others, but any strength. Just like what did Hiranyakashipu ask Prahlad? What did Hiranyakashipu ask Prahlad about strength? Now, what did he ask Prahlad? Yes. Where do you get your superhuman power from, Prahlad? And what did Prahlad say? The same place you've got it. Even the demon's strength is Krishna. Punishment, if we feel safe from crime, because the criminals are being punished, that is Krishna. This is a very interesting one. You know, we don't always win all of life's battles, isn't it? But have you ever lost a battle, but you kept your principles? You didn't sacrifice your integrity? Yes, everyone's had this experience. You didn't get what you wanted, it didn't work out, but you didn't compromise your integrity. Yes? Didn't that feel like a kind of win? That's Krishna. Silence. So Prabhupada writes in this purport, this is 1038. He says, among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking, and meditating, silence is most important because by silence one can make progress very quickly. In our silence we can hear God. When we have insights of wisdom and understanding, that is Krishna. And here he says he's the seed of everything, not only the seeds we eat, not only the seeds of bhakti, the seeds of our projects, our relationships, our homes, our jobs. And I love to meditate on this one. There's so many wonderful things in this world, so many beautiful, glorious, wonderful things. And this is just one planet among so many in this universe, and this is just one universe, and if you put it all together, it is just a spark of how wonderful is Krishna. So we looked at the 7th, 9th, and 10th chapters, and a few in the 15th. The splendor of the sun, the beauty of sunrise, the beauty of sunset, the glory of full noon, the splendor of the moon looking like a pearl in the sky, making shimmering diamonds on the water. The splendor of fire. We all like to watch fire dance, yes? The pilot of the planet. Usually when we're in a moving vehicle, we can feel it moving. But the earth is moving so much faster than an airplane. Do we feel it moving? What an expert pilot. The moon that gives the juice of life to the vegetables. And the fire of digestion. Right? Just like yesterday I ate some rice and today it's become my nose. How did that happen? Right? How did an apple turn into my ear? That's Krishna's magic of the fire of digestion. And then he joins with the prana to move the food from our mouth to our esophagus, to our stomach, to our small intestines, throughout all of our bloodstream to nourish our body. And here's Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, verse 15. Sarvasya chaham ridi sannivisto mata smatir jnana apohanam cha. So this is a favorite verse in my family. Whenever anybody would lose something, we would say, chant 1515. Mata, I can't find my other sock. Well, just chant 1515. Sarvasya chaham ridi sannivisto mata smatir jnana apohanam cha. I found it. So one time when I was traveling, one devotee said to me, Urmila, I can't find my phone. I said, well, just chant 1515. So she starts walking around her room saying, 15, 15, 15, 15. So thank you again very much. Anything that you found helpful in this presentation is from Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. Anything that you didn't like is from me. So I hope that you can please take the good and leave aside the bad. So we do have some books available. We have the Krishna Meditations book, which has a much more detail about the Bhagavad Gita meditations we were doing, and also from Bhagavatam meditations on the Virat Rupa, from the Nectar Devotion, and also on the elements.